What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you've never been here before, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Check out the over 100 videos that I have online. Maybe you'll find some of them interested. Everybody else, welcome back as always, and thank you so much for helping the channel continue to grow. I wanted to clear up a few rumors today about the Carmelo Anthony case and Austin Metcalf death. I have a few documents that I'm going to share with you. One of them directly from the court. I have the bill of indictment that states something very significant, especially for the people who like to fabricate evidence. The first thing I should say is that Carmelo Anthony has been called back into court on the date of July 18th. He has to appear in court on the date of July 18th. I believe this could be for one of three reasons, because they haven't told us why he has to go back. I believe he is either being called into court to have his bail revoked so they can incarcerate him until the trial, which is a possibility. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm saying that could be one of the reasons why he's being called back into court. He could be called back into court to be offered a plea bargain. That's also a possibility. They could want to get this case done and over with, and they could have a plea bargain for him. Or he could be called into court because he has raised $500,000. He is now trying to raise $1.4 million, but at the same time, he has filed the necessary paperwork through his attorney to have the eligibility for public assistance, for a free attorney, an attorney that will be appointed to you by the court. And an attorney is appointed to you by the court if you do not have the finances to afford your own attorney. And it clearly states that when your rights are read to you. When they say you have the right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the courts. So it is there is a practice where you can still file for an attorney appointed by the courts as you have a private attorney. You are legally allowed to do that. So he could be called into court to decipher what's going on there, to find out what's going on there. So again, as I said, July 18th, 2025, it's about 3 weeks away. He has to go back into court, and I'm sure we'll give you an update once that date happens to find out exactly what happened. It could be to revoke his bail. It could be a plea deal. It could be to straighten out the matter with the attorney. So those are all possibilities. To put a few of the rumors to rest that go around online and in the comments, he was not offered a plea deal already. Carmelo Anthony was not offered a plea deal by the courts. He did not reject any plea deal. That rumor was going around that he rejected a plea deal. He was just indicted. He wasn't even given a plea deal. So that's not true that he was offered a plea deal. Another rumor was that he moved to Louisiana. He did not move to Louisiana. He is at his home in Texas with an ankle bracelet on house arrest. In digging into this, it is possible that the family was granted permission to go on vacation in Louisiana. I'm not saying that that is a fact, but what is a fact is he did not abscond to Louisiana. He did not break his house arrest by going to Louisiana, because if he did, he would be incarcerated right now. If he did, it would be major news. And it's ridiculous to hear people make the comments, oh, he fled to Louisiana. He wasn't supposed to go. He should be in jail. He would be if he did. He is at home in Texas. Let me show you the bill of indictment. I have received the bill of indictment on Carmelo Anthony. This is just one page of the indictment papers. Let me read a bit to you of it. The defendant, Carmelo Anthony, middle name Sincere, has been charged with murder, first-degree felony, 19.82. It has the case number, the agency number, the person's ID number, of the indictment, the arrest information, April 2nd, 2025. This is a true bill of indictment in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, the grand jury of Collin County, state of Texas, duly organized at the January 2025 of the 219th District Court in said county, in said court, at said term, do present that Carmelo Sincere Anthony, hereinafter called defendant. And I'm going to tell you why I'm reading this to you. Then and there, intentionally, on or about the second day of April 2025, in the county and state, did then and there intentionally and knowingly cause the death of an individual, namely Austin Metcalf, by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon. Then and there, with intent to cause serious bodily injury to Austin Metcalf, an individual commit an act clearly dangerous to human life by stabbing Austin Metcalf with a knife, a deadly weapon that caused the death of Austin Metcalf, against the peace and dignity of the state, signed by the foreman of the grand jury. The reason I bring that up is to point out that it was not a cleat sharpener. It was a knife. All the people that like to fabricate out there, all the people that like to add things, all the people that try to mislead, all the people that lie, all the people that side with him because of race. He did not move to Louisiana. He did not have a cleat sharpener. This is evidence. This is what's called evidence. This is what's called a court document. It's amazing how people try to mislead. The second thing I'm going to read to you right now is a statement at the police. Are they coming? The second thing I'm going to read to you right now is a statement from the school, from Frisco School, about the policy of their tents during team events. School team tents must be set up in the designated area. See map for details. Each tent space is assigned to a team and may not be shared with other schools. Access to the event area where team tents are located is restricted to meet staff, event volunteers, and athletes with proper credentials. So you must have the proper credentials to sit there. Pardon me while I take a sip of my drink. As I told you, the judge is going to focus on what happened under that tent. I don't even think that statement that I just read to you from the school will be that relevant in the court of law. In other words, whether he was supposed to be there or not. My question, my main question, one of my main questions is, and I know I'll get a lot of comments on this, I've read and studied some of the law, was how come he has not been charged with possession of a weapon besides the murder charge? Because he did possess the weapon, and he should have possession of a deadly weapon charge. I don't see that I haven't seen the actual indictment. Nobody has seen the actual indictment unless they work for the courts. When I was charged with murder, I was charged with murder in the second degree, and I was charged with possession of a weapon. And so if he didn't have the charge of possessing a weapon, how do you murder someone with a knife? It becomes sort of a technicality. So I would have to see the indictment to see if he was charged with possession of a weapon. You would think that would make sense, especially because he was under the age of 18. Texas state law says you're allowed to carry a knife of a certain size, but you're not allowed to carry a knife on school grounds, from what I understand. And if you're age 17, he was 17 at the time, are you allowed to carry a knife at all? During my study of this law, I found that under the age of 18 in the state of Texas, you are allowed to carry a knife if you are fishing or hunting with an adult. Anyone above the age of 18 is allowed to carry a knife as long as it's a certain length, under a certain length. And so if him carrying a knife was illegal, he should definitely have the charge of possession of a deadly instrument, illegal possession of a weapon. Um, but just to clear those things up, the rumors going around, he did have a knife, as you hear from the indictment paper. He wasn't allowed to be under that tent, as you hear from the school. He did not go to Louisiana. He's being called back into court on July 18th. So just a short video to bring you up to date on a few things, you know. And again, before I close, I would search for a plea bargain if I was Carmelo Anthony. Um, unless this video comes out and shows him under complete attack from someone, I find that he's going to have an uphill road to climb with absolutely no injuries to say that he was in fear of his life. I believe self-defense. Forget all the hoopla. Forget all the raising money. Forget all the comments on YouTube. Forget all the stories. Forget everything. When he gets into the courtroom, the judge and the jury will be instructed to not pay attention to anything that you've heard. All that is relevant is what is going to be mentioned inside of this courthouse. And with no scratches on his face, no bruises on his face, no black eye, no fat lip, no swollen nose, no head injuries, no body injuries. Austin Metcalf being unarmed, not having any type of weapon. How does Carmelo Anthony say that he was in fear of his life and felt the need to murder someone when he has zero injuries? I think that is going to be the battle. So because of that, I would say that if he was offered a plea bargain, his lawyer should instruct him to take that plea bargain. Texas court has a very high conviction rate for felonies, very high. So that's the story. I'll keep you guys updated. He'll be back on court July 18th. You guys have a good